Welcome back to Mindset Teaching Outside the Box. We are your hosts, Jilly and Willie,
And Eileen Edwards.
and today we are talking about self-image.
So, self-image is the mental picture, generally of a kind that's quite resistant to change, that depicts not only details that are potentially available to objective investigation by others, but also that have been learned by persons about themselves from personal experiences and by internalizing the judgments of others.
Wow, this is so deep. Self-image is pivotal to understand, not only for the manifestation process and achieving your goals and your dreams, but also just for understanding how we work as people in our everyday lives, because self-image affects every single interaction, every single day, every thought. Our self-image is huge, so I'm super excited to talk about this today. So we all have something called a servo mechanism. And I learned about this from Maxwell Maltz in his book, Psycho-Cybernetics. I will put this book in our Facebook group. So anyone who wants to check it out and see the title can go ahead and look it up. But it is a phenomenal read. So Maxwell Maltz uses the example of a steersman piloting a ship. So your conscious mind is the steersman, and your unconscious mind is the ship or the servo mechanism. And the steersman can adjust the direction of the ship, but they can't make the ship move. The ship has a vast chain of locomotive activity going on, kind of like the underbelly that the steersman is unaware of. So the same is with your subconscious mind. So your servo mechanism is going to really be the guide that's going to decide where you're headed toward. And I know we've talked about the power of the subconscious mind before, but this is another example. So let's say in your subconscious mind, you have this thought or the self-image that you never finish what you start. And this is something that I've struggled with. So you're going to start if this is your self-image, you're going to start something, you're going to be excited, you're going to be motivated, you're going to come in hot, and you're going to get going. And then somewhere along the way, your servo mechanism is going to steer you toward not finishing. So you're going to either lose motivation or something's going to go wrong and you're just going to give up. Something's going to happen to stop you, because that is what your servo mechanism is targeted toward, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. And we see this even with children.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Anyone who works with children or has children of your own, yeah, I even see it with my 3-year-old, as I've been so aware of this. But yeah, seeing it in the classroom, hearing kids say that they're going to fail. And I know I've used this example before, and I'm a math teacher, so I see it in math all the time that kids say, I'm bad at math. And in reality, nobody is actually bad at math. That is a belief that we have about ourselves. It is self-image. It is a limiting self-image belief, right? It all ties together. So even if you're doing really well in math, your servo mechanism is going to bring you to that target of, oh, I'm bad at math. And maybe you're going to fail the test, or maybe you're going to, not understand a math concept, whatever it is, because your servo mechanism is targeted to that trajectory.
Yes, exactly. And I've even had kids say things in class like, well, it doesn't matter anyway because I won't do well. Like, even talking about like just relaxing and trying your best and not, um, getting anxious about things, but they have that self-image. They have that like thing ingrained in them and that's how they perceive themselves. And these things can come from our self image, can come from the way that we see ourselves or the way we think that others perceive us. And they can also come from the judgments that people make on us.
Mhm.
So these things are coming at them from outside. They're all related to outside sources.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that you brought that up because the ego starts forming at age 4. So everything before that is purely just we're soaking it up. And whatever we are exposed to, that's what's going to start forming our self-image. So the second you're born, I mean, we're born with a clean slate. Minus, yes, we're going to have some ancestral memories and patterns, and we're going to have past life memories and patterns. But in this lifetime, for the most part, what we get is from our environment up until age 4, when we can kind of start thinking a little bit more on our own. And our self image truly does come from our family, the friends that, we have during that time, society. So our self image comes from other people. We don't even have time to form a self image of ourselves. Because if you think about it, a little toddler, they believe that they are on top of the world. They believe everything they do is right. They can't do anything wrong. And then we come in and I'm saying we because like I'm a parent, society comes in and changes that to, either positive or negative. It can go either way.
I agree. I agree. Um, I've even had students who will, say, well, it doesn't matter because I'm going to get in trouble anyway, or it doesn't matter because I'm bad. And this is something that has come up for me many times in my 20 years of teaching, and I never quite understood it before. Um, but it comes in even when they're being complimented. They'll have an extreme discomfort with being told something positive. Not that we won't do it anyway, but like they'll have um, this like internal battle with you telling them something good because they don't have a good self-image. And for them, you're going against what their inside is, telling them.
Mhm. Yes, I've seen that so much too. And I always wondered, like, come on, I'm complimenting you. Why aren't you happy about it or, taking it well and understanding self-image and how deep these thoughts and feelings go has made a huge change in the way that I interact with my students and even my own children. Um, but it is so true. Your beliefs, your self-image. I mean, it's who you think you are. It's who you view yourself as. So it can be really hard to change that. And when someone is coming in and telling you, no, you're not that way, or you don't have to be that way, and it goes against your thoughts, then it can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like you were saying, it's like the ship, like it's going against what that mechanism that's ingrained in them is set to. So it doesn't want to go, that way. It wants to stay the course. Um,
Mhm.
and I think you might have had a couple of other examples, maybe something that can kind of connect to the members in our Facebook group, possibly.
Mhm. I have a couple examples. Are you saying adult examples or child examples?
I think maybe adult examples. I think for me, when I'm like listening to our podcast, like we are having the vision of changing education and reaching children, and um, our way to get there is through teachers and parents. And for me, as an adult, as a teacher, as a mom, it's easier for me to put things into practice when I can kind of connect to it myself. So I'm thinking
Absolutely.
maybe an adult example.
So I have a great one. So having an ingrained thought, a self-image of I never have any money, or I don't have enough money for the things that I need, or I always lose money and I can't hang on to it. Anything surrounding that, if that is your belief of yourself, your self-image, then you will never have enough money for what you want, or you will get money and then you will not be able to hang on to it. So a great example is like people who win the lottery. Oftentimes it's like this one-off, wow, lucky, right? And you would think with millions of dollars immediately, how could you not hang on to it, right? You can invest it, or there are smart things to do with it, right? So to make it last. But if you have this self-image of I never have enough money, you're going to lose it. Something's going to happen and you're not going to hang on to it. And then all of that money is going to be gone. And we hear of that happening often for people in that situation. Or you'll maybe start a business and it'll be going great, and you'll have a couple months where you're making lots of revenue and things are going great, and then your business tags off and nope, not making any money anymore. Because if you have that self image of I never get any money, even if you find success, because you're on target to not have money, you're going to find a way to get there, and it's just going to happen, and it's what's going to show up for you.
Yeah, I feel like it's as we keep going through these weeks, it's like this conversation about self-image, it relates to manifestation and the law of attraction and what was the other one that we just talked about? What did we just do
Limiting
last
beliefs.
week? Yeah, limiting beliefs. I mean, all of this. It's just that power of our beliefs.
Mhm. Yeah, it is really cool how it's all connected, and when you understand each piece in its own and can then bring it all together, I mean, that's a powerhouse. Like, you can change your life so much. And I do wanna point out that self-image doesn't only have to be negative. We've been giving a lot of examples about the negative, but self-image can absolutely be positive or successful as well.
Yes.
So on the flip side, if you have a self-image of I always have more than enough money and I'm always successful, then you're going to be on track for that. And if you do happen to have a month that you don't make as much money as you usually do, the next month you're probably going to bounce right back and maybe even higher than your norm. So it works both ways.
Absolutely. Living in a mindset of abundance.
Mhm.
Um, abs- absolutely.
Yeah. So we want to change, your self image can be whatever you want it to be. I grew up being a very shy person, and I realized through learning about self-image that that was a story that I was told. My mom, I mean, I remember my mom told me that as a child she was very shy. And then I took that on, and people would always tell me, "Oh, you're so quiet," or "Oh, you never talk," or "Oh, you're so shy." And so then it became my self-image. And no matter what I did, I didn't like it, but I didn't know how to change it. So when I wanted to break out of that and be somebody else, it just wasn't working because I thought this is who I am and nothing's going to change that, even if I want to. And you can't, when it comes to self image, you can't force the change. There is a process to go through because you can absolutely change your self image. It's literally just a story that you believe about yourself. So it is changeable, just like limiting beliefs and everything we've talked about so far.
Yes.
But it's a process. You have to replace, you can't force.
Yes. And we can do that through affirmations.
Mhm. Yeah, that auto suggestion is one way to change your self image. Um, so for me, I have been working on my shyness and overcoming that. So an affirmation that I would say to myself through my auto suggestion is I am confident. I speak up, I use my voice. Um, and just constantly spaced repetition. Saying that constantly throughout the day is huge in helping with your self image. Also, visualization, which I know we've talked about before. When it comes to self-image, Maxwell Maltz in his book that I mentioned before, he suggests choosing a time, same time every single day, and taking like 10 minutes and visualizing whatever it is about yourself that you're wanting to change. So for me, I would be visualizing being confident and speaking up and all of that. So by doing it at the same time, it's very consistent, and really going within and adding that feeling and emotion to what does it feel like to be this person and to have whatever it is that I would have as this person, which goes, I mean, you're basically manifesting the person you want to be.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that w- affirmations are a great thing, um, to get those thoughts of what it is that you want to be, like your true self. But then I know we also talked about um, like canceling out the others when they pop up and come up into our head. I think you mentioned something about that before.
Yes, this is another suggestion from Maxwell Maltz. And this one I think is really cool because when you're manifesting, as we've talked about, or when you're changing your self image, you don't want to give any energy or thought to who you don't want to be. And you want to live as if. So when you realize that you're starting to have a negative thought, or you're starting to do something that goes against the self-image that you want to move toward, then you immediately stop and say cancel. And he suggests saying it out loud, as weird as it may feel or sound, to just say cancel and then put a thought in your head that aligns with your self image. So if I was in a situation where I was feeling like I didn't want to speak up, I would say cancel and just do it. Just speak up or say what I want to say. And it's uncomfortable at first, but you're changing a part of who you are,
Yeah.
so you're changing a paradigm. So it's going to be uncomfortable and hard. But if you really want to make that change, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. And then your servo mechanism is going to change to that positive self image. And then it'll just be easy and you'll be on target for that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And the thought of being able to bring that capability to children is really awesome.
Yeah, think about, I mean, think back to even when I was like fresh out of college, but thinking about kids, if we could teach kids, I mean, it would be great if we could get them like straight from birth. If parents understand self-image, then they can be consciously aware of what self-image would I like to help my kids have, so that right out the gate they can start putting positive thoughts and, you know, actions and words out towards their kids. But getting kids from like kindergarten, first, second grade, like those,
Yep.
lower grade levels, right? And if we could start teaching them how to change their self image, think about the impact it would have on them for their entire life.
Yeah, absolutely. That just gives me goosebumps.
Mhm. Yeah, this stuff is so powerful. And what I find insane is that this book was, let me see if I can find the original published date. It was like, I mean, here, hold on. No, this was reprinted in 2015, but the original publishing date, I found it somewhere. It was like, I don't know, 1800s or maybe even before. I mean, it was like a long time ago. And it's like, why, this research has been published Why doesn't everybody know about it?
Yep. I know.
I mean, all of this, like, everyone could be living the best life ever if all of this material was widespread and known about. And I mean, that's why we're here doing this podcast to spread the word. But it's so life changing, and I don't understand why it's not out there more.
Yeah, I know. I knew nothing about it until like 2 years ago. And it's definitely been life changing in such a short period of time. Um, and I'm an adult, an adult with a long history. And I think children, without the long history and the they still have the conditioning and the patterns, but they haven't been living and reliving them for so long. Um, just the potential for kids to just be able to, use their beliefs for good and for change. And it's just so, it just blows my mind at how like amazing that would be.
Yeah, that's the dream, and definitely hoping to get it out there as much as possible. And something else that I want to share, as a strategy for changing your self image is to write down who you want to be as well, and write a self image script. So then, that's something, and I have a self image script, and I read it and listen to it every day because it's basically a form of affirmations, but it's just a way to have, in front of you, this is who I want to be. And a way to think about that is think about like what your goals are, and then think, who do I have to be to become that person? So I have a vision of having my own business and, you know, bringing in a lot more money than I am now. I'd love to be a millionaire one day. So I put myself into that end result and said, okay, well, who do I need to be to get that? How am I going to show up to the world? How am I going to talk? What am I going to think? And then I wrote down that person. So it's almost like, you write down who you want to be and then you become that person. So just a strategy, for people to try out.
I like that. And I think that anybody can do that, child or adult.
Mhm.
I like that.
I would Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. You're good.
Oops, sorry, throwing things. Um, I was just hearing you say that. I was thinking what a great beginning of the year activity that this could be for students.
Students.
And it's something that changes. It's advised to check back in on your or reflect rather, because if you're saying your self-image script every day, you're going to be checking in on it, but to really reflect on it, every like 3 or 6 months or so, because you're going to start noticing that these self-image, statements are going to come true. And once it's true, you don't need to affirm it anymore. So then you change your self image. So you're always elevating yourself. But how cool it would be to start this, in the beginning of the school year with kids, and then to check back in, and really reflect like January, new year, and then again at the end of the year, and to see their growth and progress within themselves. I mean, that would be so cool.
Yes, that would be. Absolutely. I don't think I have anything else on self-image that's coming up for me. I feel like it's all been kind of um, addressed what I kind of wanted to cover. But do you have any additional things that you would like to share as it relates to self-image?
I don't think so. I think we hit on a lot of the big points, and I think it because it ties so well with so many topics we've covered,
Yes.
I think we've covered it.
Yeah, I agree. It's all like connected.
Mhm, yeah. So, Before we wrap up, I do want to just remind everyone that we have an amazing event coming up this weekend, actually, on July 11th, 12th, and 13th. We are hosting a vision board party. It's going to be beautiful and amazing. We are going to help you dig deep and figure out what is it that you truly want? What are your big dreams, your big goals? We're going to help you learn how to achieve those goals and how to put them onto a visual display in the form of a vision board. It's going to be really cool. So if you would like to join, we're happy to have you. Just join our Facebook group, Mindset Teaching Outside the Box, and you'll be able to register for the event. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And even if you're not interested in the event, please join our Facebook group. We have great content in there. We have a great community of people where we can answer questions and share, and lots of good stuff going on. So, we'd love to have you join that community. And Eileen, any last
Okay.
remarks?
Just grateful for everyone who's listening in. And I'm hoping that we see everyone on Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I second that. I'm very grateful for everyone, and we're always here for you. So have a lovely night, everyone.